Why do Americans care so much about sexuality? Most don't. The internet amplifies everything controversial. Most Americans don't care where you're sticking it. Most of us don't care if someone we don't know is dead or alive. We don't. It's just something overblown by the 24-hour news networks to keep us divided and, more importantly, distracted from growing wealth inequality and class warfare. Because we've created a system that monetizes outrage and anger. Majority of sane people don't care about it, but they will still click on the clickbait article or engage with a topic. To be fair, views and laws on sexuality are pretty commonplace. Not just America. Some places still have same-gender relationships not able to marry or, in the worst case, potentially punishable by death. Unfortunately, most of it stems from outdated religious beliefs. But there's also a large percentage of it brought about by a lack of education, and a crazy amount of it linked to a complete lack of empathy for others. Outdated religious beliefs. I don't. Under which circumstances do you feel that Americans care more about it than people of other countries? Most of us don't care at all. People don't always look for the smart person in the room, but instead find themselves following the loudest person in the room. Loud people get heard. Loud people with bad ideas are now common ever since the monkeys left their typewriters and found the internet. The American media is now dominated by entertainment, ostensibly news or opinion or viral content. But it's only designed to make someone angry to sell ads. 90% of people just roll their eyes at it, but that other 10% makes entertainment companies wildly rich. Honestly, looking for non-religion being the problem thoughts. But that's literally the problem. Why would you ask a question you don't want the answer to? Because the right wants to control what others do and take away freedom. We don't. The vast majority of us anyway. The whole debate is driven by 5% on either side. Thanks to social media, that 10% seems much bigger than it actually is, so they get the attention they can't live without. Control. Power. This gives those seeking control something to turn people against. The religious aspect just makes it easier to do. Christophacists want to moralize human sexuality and shame women. This makes them feel morally superior. Anyone who has a different take on this subject is morally bankrupt and suspect and must be shut down. It mostly comes from fear and lack of understanding. This is why the right gets so upset about drag shows and feel the need to show up with micro penises and huge guns while wearing masks. Puritan beliefs by Christians, trying to cling to their power. In the rural South, the opinions can be extremely negative and openly hostile. Being out or even suspected of being queer can be very dangerous. People saying otherwise have not been queer living in those spaces. I can't speak as to why. Beyond a general combination of religion, education, and exposure, there are certainly some places that are overall accepting, safe. But I can't in good conscience say it is just an internet thing. In my little town in Southern Virginia, there were no openly queer people in the 7 years I lived there, because they either moved for safety or closeted for safety. For a long time, and still today, queer people were discriminated against in both de jure laws and legislation on the books, and de facto, individual, group prejudice in practice ways. In order to fight against both these kinds of discrimination, queer people have to make themselves and their experiences hypervisible in the forms of not only protest and legal action, but in normalizing their existence and raising awareness of their humanity. Coupled with the fact that the internet amplifies things as commented here, and the fact that the internet can be a place where queer people who don't feel safe being visible in their real lives can come to find community and raise awareness and seek support. And it can seem to straight, cis people, and people outside of the US, as though Americans care about it more. In the past few years, there has been an uptick in anti-LGBTQ+ legislation and sentiment in US governance. As this becomes louder, many queer communities feel that they must counter with their own loudness in order to prevent legal and social regression. Having lived in liberal metropolitan areas in the US and near much more conservative and/or rural areas, I can tell you from my own experience that queerness is absolutely still hush-hush, misunderstood, and stigmatized in a lot of the US. I think the internet and what kind of media you tend to consume, as the internet can definitely be an echo chamber, make it seem more accepted and more like it's not necessary to discuss to the extent that it is. But much of the country still has a long way to go. As long as your heart's in the right place, most of us don't care what you put in your mouth. Some Republican states are going off the deep end into a dangerous place for human rights.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. IceKareemy is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.